Walk with me.
I said I will take heed to my ways, that I sin not with my tongue. I will keep my mouth with a bridle while the wicked is before me. I was done with silence. I held my peace even from good, and my sorrow was stirred. My heart was hot within me, whilst I was musing the fire burned. Then spake I with my tongue, I am, make me to know mine end, and the measure of my days. What is it, that I might know how frail I am? Behold, thou hast made my days as an handbreadth. In other words, and mine age is nothing before thee. Verily, every man at his best state is altogether vanity, said I. Surely every man walketh in a vain show. Surely they are disquieted in vain, and heapeth up riches, and knoweth not who shall gather them. And now, O Sanini Nanini, what wait I for? My hope is in thee. Deliver me from all my transgressions, and make me not reproach of the foolish. I was dumb and opened not my mouth because thou didst it. Remove thy stroke away from me. I am consumed by the blow of thy hand. When thou rebukest, dost correct a man for iniquity, thou makest his beauty to consume away like a moth. Surely every man is vanity, Selah. Hear my prayer, O Tata Nzambe. Give ear unto my cry, hold not thy peace at my tears. For I am a stranger with thee and a sojourner, as all my fathers were. O spare me that I might recover strength before I go hence and be no more. Psalms chapter 39. Deliver me from the hands of evil spirits who have sway over the thoughts of men's hearts. And let them not lead me astray from thee, my God. Establish thou me in my seed forever, that we go not astray from henceforth and forevermore. Jubilees chapter 12 and verse 20. Yes, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, those of you on this platform and shared platforms. We thank you. Walking with Mr. Clay. Yes, walk with me. Yes, a beautiful day, a beautiful day. If it's night, yeah, that's beautiful too. If it's morning for you, it's beautiful too. We just give the Most High all praises and all due to his name that is right and good. Yes, to attribute it, to worship him, to cause him to be set up on high, that he might be exalted even of those passerbys. Yes, and we thank God for you, and we thank God for those of you that have been with us from the beginning. Yes, as always, we are so grateful for you. Yes, even the angels in heaven, they are grateful. They're rejoicing that you elected to just learn and know of the Most High. Yes, and those that have joined us afterwards and here and there is about. We thank God for you also, and those of you who have just subscribed, we are praising the Most High for you. And then those of you that are about to subscribe, we are calling those things that are not as though they are. Yes. We was in Psalm chapter 39. Yes, beautiful Psalms. And we're coming from, should I say, the book of Jasher. Sometimes I say another book, but don't pay me no mind. No, never mind. The book of Jasher. It's just a mind slip. That's all it is. The book of Jasher, and we were in chapter 37, I believe. 37. I believe that was 37. Wasn't it 37? 37. Yes, 37. Sometimes I have to remind myself I can read it and then forget it. I read this thing 3, 4, 5 times and still forget. Some people have good photographic memories, but my memory ever since my youth was not photographic. Yes. And we're in verse 38. Jasher, the book of Jasher, chapter 37 and verse 38. Now we know that Judah was in combat previously, we know that he was in combat. Judah, whom the throne was given because I believe it was Reuben. I said Simeon at first, but it was Reuben. Reuben was the firstborn of Abram. He messed up just like his uncle Esau. But in this, he did not sell his birthright, but he forfeited his birthright because of his sin in defiling his father's bed and laying with his concubine, his side chick, or whatever you want to call it, his sister wife or potential sister wife. In other words, a side chick in that day was just like being married. She would only belong to that one man. That's it. She was just like a wife, really. Some call them concubines or whatever. She was like a wife. But she didn't have all the benefits of a wife. I mean, if he was to die, she would have gotten a portion of what he had. It was pretty close. But that was the same as marriage. And if she were to lay with another man, or that would be deemed adultery. Yes, it would. She was betrothed to him, although she wasn't ceremonially married, should I say. In some ways, it's complicated. But as we're in the 38th chapter of the 38th verse of the 37th chapter of the book of Jasher. And it reads, and Jasher took his spear in his hand. Now this was in the heat of battle. These two were battling to strike Judah upon his head. Now Judah was fierce. Now you can understand the bloodline that as we get to King David and those who are of the tribe of Judah, how fierce they were in war. A royal. See, the spirit that the Most High give them should have been upon Reuben, but it came upon Judah. Judah was not fearless, but he was not afraid. God pumped Judah's hearts up, and Judah went regardless. And you can see he didn't care how big. Look at the bloodline here. He didn't care how big Jasher was. So you tell you something about David and the sons, those that come from his bloodline. See, it's amazing how even Joseph, they come from the bloodline, says to be come from the bloodline of David, and how that he's even seldom mentioned in that book that we call the New Testament or the Gospels. That's not the way of the Most High. The Father's always mentioned. The Father's always there. He's only mentioned a few times, and then he's just pushed to the side. Like Dak said, it's not what you know, but how you provide to that home. Yes, that's all they cared about. Children are going to do the same thing. They don't care about it. A lot of them don't even care about their daddy because of the way the mama treats the daddy. And the daddy, he studies, provides because he wants to see his children make. But all they care is, and then half the time, many mothers would take credit for what the daddy have done, and the children are so, they're bamboozled. And not thinking that the daddy had contributed anything to their life. Now, given a lot of daddies don't do what they're supposed to do, okay? But there's a lot of mothers that have something to do with that. But either way, regardless whether they deadbeat or good dads or whatever, the problem is that's all it's about, that you provide for that home. And other than that, you can move aside, brother. See you. Don't want to be you. But either way, then when that child becomes a man, he started to say, dog, I know what my daddy went through. I see why he acted the way he acted. And then he gets his mama walking in, and she all happy and stuff, hey, my baby. And then you get that bombastic side eye from your son. He done found something out, but he won't say it to you because he respects you. Now, Jasher took his spear in his hand to strike Judah upon his head, but Judah had quickly placed his shield to his head. He's given the details of the battle between Judah and Jasher. Jasher was like a Goliath type man, a big man. He had armor. This man was strong. Cornbread, collard greens, and pinto bean fed man, yes. But Judah had quickly placed a shield to his head against Jasher's spear, so that the shield of Judah received the blow from Jasher's spear, and the shield was split in two. Now, it absorbed the blow from Jasher. You know, just like you would see a gladiator movie or a movie about some Roman junk, whatever. But either way, overrated. But either way, now, when Judah saw that his shield was split, now you have to realize this is the father of David, the father of his line, the kingly line that wasn't afraid, that stepped in right. Kings of wisdom and kings of strength and might and valiantry. Not like the Europeans were depicted, but they were valiant men. When Judah saw that his shield was split, he hastily drew his sword and smote Jasher. In other words, as soon as it broke, he saw he had a spear in his hand. He came back at him. He came back at Jasher and cut off his feet. In other words, bam, and he come under, just like that. Now his sword had to be very sharp. He cut off his feet, that Jasher fell upon the ground. Now this sword had to come so hard that he had to break bone. And if he broke that bone and it went through one piece of flesh and it hit to he had to have a hard swing. And you have to realize the Almighty was into this. Tata and Zambi, Sanini Nanini, Heya, he was into this battle. And Judah hastily picked up Jasher's spear, with which he severed his head and cast it next to his feet. In other words, he poked the spear in his head and cast it at his feet. Now, you know God will give you strength in a fight. I know this. And when the sons of Jacob saw that Judah had done what Judah had done to Jasher, they all ran into the ranks of the other kings, and the sons of Jacob fought with the army of Jasher and the armies of all the kings that were there. And the sons of Jacob caused 15,000 of their men to fall, and they smote them as if smarting at the girds, and the rest fled for their lives. Now this is why I always say that any leader of any country should be in this day and time and then and forth should have military experience. Should have elaborate military experience. You know, not only an officer or a college grad, but also a military experience, that he might lead his people, not only being versed. Now this shows how the Sahel works also. These are men that have military experience. And they know how to lead their people, not only militarily, they know how to negotiate, that they need allies and that they need all these other things. And, you know, even a part of it is part of the Most High. It's doing. Yes, it's part of the Most High's doing. The United States used to always do that at one time, but now we get these people that no military experience, no type of military school. In other words, the discipline. In other words, easily swayed by other countries, and, you know, not even a discipline enough to know how to reframe or go against these people, and knowing how to, you know, harness their emotions and harness their hates and dislikes. Because one thing about a military, if you're in a country like this, you're gonna sit up there, you're gonna have to deal with people from all walks of life. So a good leader would understand that I'm gonna have people around me of all walks of life, that I might be influenced by them because they know their people. And they know their own needs, that I might affect a good governance and good management of the land. Yes. Let's continue. I digress. That was just so good. Now, and Judah also took off the iron and brass that was about Jasher. And behold, 9 men of the captains of Jasher came along to fight against Judah, and Judah hastened and took up a stone from the ground. Now, these people fought with rocks now. With it, he smote one of them upon the head, and his skull was fractured. In other words, this is English. He's saying they broke it. They saw the blood crashing out. And the body also fell from the horse to the ground. And the 8 captains that remained, seeing the strength of Judah, this was God, this was the Most High, this was even Yahweh. He just wasn't to turn the other cheek. He was a fighter. God is a God of war. This is what he's talking about. I will get you. I got you in war as well as God got you in death. God is saying this. You don't worry about what the other enemy got. You just go fight. We fight. That's what he's saying. Yes, you're going to need some help here and there. And they overtook him and he slew them. Verse 47, and the sons of Jacob were still smiting the armies of the kings, and they slew many of them. But those kings daringly kept their stand with their captains and did not retreat from their places. And they exclaimed against those of their armies that fled from before the sons of Jacob. But none would listen to them, for they were afraid of their lives lest they should die. Now this is the whole thing of cowardice. Cowardice is saying, I don't want to die. But you'd rather be defeated, and you'd rather be enslaved, and you'd rather be even those who were carried on ships by the colonizers and the slavers. They'd rather have died than be brought to a land that they did not know, so they just drowned themselves. Did they commit suicide? Nah, it wasn't sort of a suicide. It was a warrior's thing. Or the women that were daring and warrior-like. Yes, God is the judge of those things. But either way, and all the sons of Jacob, after having smitten the armies of the kings, returned and came before Judah. And Judah was still slaying the 8 captains of Jasher and stripping off their garments. And Levi saw Elon, not Elon Musk, okay, not Elon Musk, king of Gash, advancing toward him with his 14 captains to smite him, but Levi did not know it for certain. And Elon with his captains approached nearer, and Levi looked back and saw that the battle was given him in the rear, and Levi ran with the 12 of his servants, and they went and slew Elon and his captains with the edge of the sword. Now you have to realize this, the seed of Levi. See, God has given us some background here why he chose who he chose in after the mount, what he did on the mount. And when Jacob died, and the things that he attributed to his son, the blessings and whatever he attributed to him, he did this for a reason. Because he knew of the battle. The angel knew of the battle. The angel was telling this thing vividly because they record. Every word that we say and every action that we do, they record. They remember it before the Most High. Yes. It's like the Most High is right there, but he's not there. Think about it. Who can know God by figuring him out? Many of you try to figure God out. Stop trying to figure God out. We just want to know, to understand God and know God. As far as knowing what he comprises of, the energy, the forces, and all these other things, you don't need that. You just need to understand and know him, which is really revealed throughout his laws, statutes, commandments, ordinances. Yes. That's God. God is love. Love is fair. Fair. See, many of us, we have been construed by the Satans. What love is. Love is just being fair. Fair with your children. Fair with your spouse. I mean, man and woman. Between the spouses. Fair. That's what love is. Now, and his captains with the edge of the sword, and Ehuri, king of Shiloh, came up to assist Elon, and he approached Jacob. And when Jacob drew his bow that was in his hand with an arrow stuck in Huri, they would say Jiri, J-H, but they left it at an I, Huri, which caused his death. And when Huri, the king of Shiloh, was dead, the 4 remaining kings fled from their stations with the rest of the captains and they endeavored to entreat, saying, we have no more strength for the Hebrews, after their having killed their 3 kings and their captains who were more powerful than we are. And we, the sons of Jacob, saw that the remaining kings had removed from their station. They pursued them. And Jacob also came from the heap of Shechem and from the place where he was standing. And they went after the kings, and they approached them with their servants. And the kings and the captains with the rest of their armies, seeing that the sons of Jacob approached them, were afraid of their lives and fled till they reached the city of Khazar. That's CH. And the sons of Jacob pursued them and to the gate of the city of Khazar, and they smote a great smiting amongst the kings. Now God had to give them strength to do this. This will wear you out. You see a boxer have to go 13 rounds with one man. Imagine you going with 3 or 4 men. You have to have the energy of a Shaolin priest. A Shaolin priest. And the discipline of one. And also that of a warrior to do this type of thing. But this is nothing but supernatural in his own right. Now, and they smote great smitings among the kings and their armies, about 4,000 men. And whilst they were smiting the army of kings, Jacob was occupied with his bow, confining himself to smiting the kings, and he slew them all. In other words, Jacob was just taking them down. And he slew Parthian, king of Khazar, and at the gate of the city of Khazar, he afterwards smote Susi, king of Sartan, and Laban, king of Beth Horon, and Sabir, king of Machnaim. And he slew them all with arrows, and arrows to each of them, and they died. Now you can imagine the preciseness of even David through Judah's bloodline, slaying a giant called Goliath. See, his grandfather did this before he did. Oh, God is worthy to be praised. Yes, battle. It ain't cute. It ain't turning the other cheek. I don't know where they got that mess from. That law never left you. You left the law. That's what happened. And those who wrote this thing, they wanted you to leave the law, and they preached you to leave the law, that you might bust eternity wide open in eternal condemnation and torment. The law, statutes, ordinances. And once we get out of all of this, we can practice the full law. Yes, all the heathen will be gone to Satan's diminished, locked up, and nothing less but to serve our God. Yes. And he slew them all with arrows, and arrows to each of them, and they died. Verse 7. I'm in chapter 38 now. And the sons of Jacob, seeing that all the kings were dead, and they were broken up, retreating, continued to carry on the battle with the armies of the kings opposite the gate of Khazar. And they still smote about 400 of their men. And 3 men of the servant of Jacob fell in that battle. And when Judah saw that the 3 of his servants had died, it grieved him greatly, and his anger burned within him against the Amorites. Now, apparently there was a reason why those servants died. They call them servants, employees, or people that join themselves to a tribe or a people in order to have bread and be a part of something. It's just like you would go, it's just like you're a part of the city or a country or a village. You all are part of one family. There is a leader in that village, yes, a king or whatever you call them, or in that city, an elected leader. But the fact is, you all are one people. But when you get like this place that we call Babylon, biasness occurs because the Satans have infiltrated with having at least separating people according to their hue and their financial status, instead of educating people. I digress. But all the men that remained of the armies of the kings were greatly afraid of their lives, and they ran and broke the gate of the walls of the city of Khazar, and they all entered the city for safety, and they concealed themselves in the midst of the city of Khazar. For the city of Khazar was a very large and extensive, and when all the armies had entered the city, the sons of Jacob ran after them to the city, and 4 mighty men experienced in battle went forth from the city and stood against the entrance of the city with drawn swords and spears. Now, I believe even Judah would say, this is my specialty, okay? And opposite the sons of Jacob, and would not suffer them to enter the city. And Naphtali ran and came between them with his sword and smote 2 of them. In other words, these were some courageous men, and cut off their heads at one stroke. That's nothing but God. That's the Almighty, the Creator. Yes. These things are not gone. God will give you strength to ward off these evil intruders of your village and of your countries, if only you can get your mind from being colonized with this New Testament stuff. And he turned to the other 2, and behold, they had fled, and he pursued them and overtook them, smote them and slew them. Verse 14, and the sons of Jacob came and to the city and saw, and behold, there was another wall to the city, and they sought for the gate of the wall and could not find it. And Judah sprang upon the top of the wall, and Simeon and Levi followed him. And they all 3 descended from the wall into the city. Now these are the sons of Leah. Leah was the first one. Yeah, Leah probably was a tough cookie too. Her sons are doing this. Ooh, I don't know. Because a lot of times you find out even in birth, a child will take on part of his mother and father. You know, and I say mother first because of the situation. And Leah wasn't no, apparently Leah wasn't no turncoat. Agree with you with everything you say. Let's fight, let's do this, let's do that. And then when time to come to ante up, they gone. Oh, I remember this vividly. I've had things where I asked certain people that were being oppressed, let's go and let's converse this thing. Let's talk about it. Let's go before these people. I mean, we talking about going before, this is military stuff, but we was going before officers and stuff and races and biased people. But none of them, after they talk a good talk, when it was time to go, they had excuses. They had all kind of stuff. They were scared. But the Most High gave me enough gumption to go by myself. Didn't care. And then all of a sudden, after going through the protocol and the things that I did, we got something done. And I couldn't even shake their hands because they disgust me. It was hard to even shake their hands. They disgust me big time. I had to get away from them. I loved them, but disgusted. Cowardice is not only just fighting. Cowardice can be just not even dealing with things in an administrative way or whatever. You have to fight regardless of how you fight, whether you do it administratively, diplomatically, or militarily. See, this is the way God does. Right here is a perfect example. And Dan and Naphtali sprang up on the wall to see what caused the noise of lamentation of the sons. For the sons of Jacob felt anxious about their brothers, and they heard the inhabitants of the city speaking with weeping and supplication, saying, take all that we possess in the city and go away and only do us no death. In other words, the fear came upon them of the children of Jacob. Yes, come on here. And when Judah, Simeon, Levi had ceased smiting the inhabitants of the city, they ascended the wall and called Dan and Naphtali, who were upon the wall, and to the rest of their brothers and Simeon. And Levi informed them of the entrance into the city, and all the sons of Jacob came to fetch the spoil. Woo! Glory to God, hallelujah. Yes! God will even give you praise in battle. And with that, I ain't talking about this fighting for corporations. I'm talking about fighting for your children, your wives, your businesses, and all these other things. You getting out there and doing it. And with that, we're going to say, peace.
Walk with me.